Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm so excited for today's video, not only because I have one of my good friends in with us today to be our model, but also because I have partnered up with one of the most affordable cosmetic brands on today's market, e.l.f. Cosmetics. So without further ado, if y'all want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using this Neutrogena Night Pressed Serum to prep our model's skin. And also what I did here was I mixed in a couple drops of glycerin into this, which is what's given it that really luminous, hydrated, shiny look. For those of you who don't know what glycerin is, you can give it a quick Google search, but it's basically a really effective humectant found in many moisturizers, soaps, cosmetics, and so on. And it's really affordable. You can pick it up for a few bucks and it just gives the skin an extra grip for the products to stick onto. After this, I'm using the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer to finish off prepping the skin. This is great if you're one who really likes that boost of hydration. It's packed with essential vitamins such as vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, which work together to soften, brighten, and hydrate the skin. So now that we have the base prepped and ready, it's time to apply the foundation. I'm using the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation, and the first shade I'm using of this is in the shade Neutral Hazel, focusing it towards the center of the face. Now, our model today, Bianca, is not a quote-unquote glam girl per se. She never wears foundation or anything, so she doesn't want the skin to feel heavy. She wants, the products to feel lightweight, and she wants her skin to look really luminous. This is a perfect example of those who want that contoured glam look, but without having to add layers and layers of concealer and tons of powder and all that. So we're still going to give the complexion beautiful dimension, but I'm doing it in a way where I'm adding a sheer layer of this foundation in a lighter color to the center of the face and a deeper shade along the perimeter. By the way, the sponge I'm using is from She Glam. I'll link it down below along with everything else I'm using today. It's super cheap and cheerful. I think it's only a few bucks and you can find it online. Okay, next I'm using the same Catrice foundation, but this time in the shade Warm Caramel, and I'm only applying this to the areas of the face I want to add dimension to, such as around the perimeter of the forehead, below the cheekbones, the jawline, and down the sides of the nose. And you can see here, I'm not going real crazy with this. A little goes a long way, guys. All I'm looking to do here is to add some natural color to the face. And the difference with doing this with a liquid foundation versus a cream contour is usually a cream is going to be fuller in coverage. So by using a liquid, I'm going to get a more sheer, natural application of this, almost like a kiss of color to the skin. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what Bianca wants. And this shade is perfect because it matches the tan on her shoulders, chest, and arms perfectly. So by the time we finish up on the complexion, everything will be looking seamless. And to blend all this in, I'm using the same exact sponge I used earlier to apply and blend in the foundation. Alrighty, now that we have this blended in, I'm going to use this LA Girl HD Pro Concealer in the shade Creamy Beige to conceal her under eyes. I'm applying just a smidge of this right to the inner lower corner, and don't be too worried about getting this placement perfect because we're going to end up diffusing it all out anyways with the blending. And notice how I didn't bring foundation up to this area earlier. That's all because there's really no use to double layering up on product if I'm just going to be applying concealer to this area anyways. And that's a good trick for anyone watching whose under eye tends to crease. Try using less product instead of bringing your foundation all the way up to the eye area just to then cover it up with concealer. Try only using a bit of concealer in this area alone. It may help because there ends up being less product there to crease. Okay, we have that concealer blended in and looking flawless. So now I'm gonna head over to this Wet n Wild lipstick in the shade Cherry Pickin', and I'm using this to blush up the cheeks. You've seen me do it a countless amount of times on my channel already, but I love using lipsticks as a cream blush. Really, there's not a whole lot of difference to me between a cream blush and a cream lipstick, or even a liquid blush versus a liquid lipstick. It's the pigment I'm looking for. In today's case, this color lipstick is a vibrant pink, and when applied in small doses with a fluffy blush brush, it looks so incredibly beautiful and youthful. I'm going to go in with a powder blush later on just to amp it up, but this works great whether you're looking for a touch of color on the cheeks or something a little more dramatic. And if you found you added a little too much, switch on over to the side of the sponge that you had used to apply the foundation earlier, and what's left of that foundation in the sponge will diffuse out the blush pigment. To set this makeup into place, I'm using the Air Sponge Translucent Face Powder, and first applying this to around the eye area, since this area is usually first to crease. I'm not applying a whole lot of this, just enough to set the concealer into place and to prevent it from moving. For the rest of the face, I'll apply this same powder on with a larger, fluffier brush. But since she wants the skin to look naturally glowy, I'm using a very, very small amount of this powder today. You'll notice by the end of this tutorial how luminous her skin begins to look, because the skincare products we use at the beginning are really starting to peek through the makeup, and her skin begins to look even more natural. I will say though, if you intend on wearing your hair down, I'd recommend using a bit more powder than I'm using, just so your hair doesn't remove the complexion products. But in tonight's case, we're styling Bianca's hair out of her face. You all, wait till you see this snatched braid she has. Our other friend who is going out to dinner with us after filming this is an incredibly talented hairstylist. He created this really fun braid on her. You can check out his work. His name is Michael Livesey. I'll link his IG down below. Show him some love. She got so many compliments when we went out. Everyone was being so kind and complimenting her left and right. Alright, so next I'm using this e.l.f. blush palette to reinforce the cream lipstick blush we had applied earlier. There's 4 different shades in this palette, and just a hint of this brushed onto the apples of the cheeks makes such a big difference and contributes to the blush lasting throughout the day longer. Once we've finished applying the powder blush, I'm going to apply it on this e.l.f. powder contour product onto all the areas of the face we had applied the liquid contour earlier. And just like the blush palette, this contour palette has 4 different shades in it. I find myself mixing them all together and lightly feathering it onto the skin. I'm not being heavy-handed with this at all. A little goes a long way, and it's the perfect amount of color to reinforce the liquid contour we had used. Now to start on the brows, I'm using this shade here from the Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow palette to lightly run through the brows. This cool toned taupey gray shade really makes for the perfect brow color for her. It's not too dark that it would make her brows look too dramatic, but it's deep enough that when lightly applied, it adds a little depth and shape to the brow where we want it. Plus, Bianca has really full and strong brows as is, and because we're doing a pretty dramatic eye look on her today, I want to keep everything balanced by being light-handed with the brow product. Today's look is all about the skin and eyes. Now with this e.l.f. metallic flare highlighter in the shade Rose Gold, I'm sweeping this onto parts of the face where I'm looking for an extra glow from, such as the cheekbones, a tad bit down the forehead, down the center of the nose, and Cupid's bow. e.l.f. has 4 different shades in this highlighter, but I was really drawn to this shade here. It's buttery smooth, it glides on the skin, and gives that multi-dimensional glow we're looking for. And then with this Wet n Wild black gel liner, I'm going to begin on the eye makeup. I'm applying this on with an angled liner brush in the same fashion I would do a winged liner, starting from the inner corner of the eye and winging it out as I make my way to the outer corner of the eye. And don't worry about getting this perfect either, because for this look, I'm going to smoke it all out anyways, but I do this just so I can get a general idea of the shape I want to create. And here's when I take a pencil blending brush and start moving around that product and smoking it out. I am going to speed up this footage a bit because otherwise y'all will be here all day watching this, but I did want to at least include all of the blending footage in today. Sometimes I read comments from people saying they follow the same steps and products I use, but they don't get the same blending result, and that it looks so easy for me and all all that. But honestly, I giggle now, but it really does break my heart to hear that from some of y'all, because I don't want to set an unrealistic expectation. I know I make it look easy in these tutorials, but keep in mind, by the time I edit a lot of this footage, you're only seeing such a small fraction of the time it actually takes me to blend it in real time. Considering it takes me, I don't know, a good hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to complete a full glam, there's a lot of footage being cut out of these tutorials. So I say all that to say, please don't beat yourself up if it's not as easy for you as it looks for me. A lot of this blending is tedious and time consuming, but it pays off. And by the way, to blend out this liner here, I've dipped into the black eyeshadow from the same Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette that we had used earlier on the brows. And I'm taking that shadow to run below the outer half of the lower lash line. And to really glam up this eye look, I'm using this e.l.f. liquid glitter eyeshadow in the shade Black Magic, and I'm applying this onto the outer half of the upper lid. These glitters are so beautiful, and what's nice about them being liquids is that you don't have to worry about the fallout that you'd get with an ordinary loose glitter, and you also don't need to worry about using glitter glue with it. It's a one-stop shop, guys, and it's super easy to use. For the other half of the eyelid, I'm using another e.l.f. liquid glitter eyeshadow, but this time in the shade Disco Queen. I used a darker glitter for the outer half because I wanted to keep the depth in that area and keep it lighter towards the inner corner. For the daytime, glitter might be a little much, but it's the evening time now. The three of us are going out after this, and I just love glitter. And if you want to add lashes, go for it, but both Bianca and I prefer this look without lashes, so I just added some mascara and completed her other eye off camera before adding on this e.l.f. plumping lip gloss in the shade Mocha Twist. This is also such a beautiful shade of lip gloss. It adds a little plumpness to the lips. It has that plumping, cooling sensation to it. You can even wear it on top of your lipstick and lip liner, but in today's case, I really wanted to show this shade alone as is. And also, I didn't really care to line or overline her lips. We see it time and time again, people overlining their lips like crazy, including myself. Been there, done that. But I really love Bianca's natural thin lips. So I'm keeping it understated and natural today by just accentuating it with this high shine gloss, which officially makes this the final step in how we created this all drugstore affordable glam makeup look on our naturally beautiful model.
I wanna say something, but you are all that I see. You got dynamite, that smile's gonna be the end of me. I bet you taste like chocolate. Can I have it for free? I'm an explosion, that smile's gonna be the end of me.
And there we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big ol' thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Paintedbyspencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.